that people learn best from taking risks and actually making mistakes. Dave is currently the Group Technician Director of Energy Drive Systems, and he's very happy to share his story with you tonight.
Very happy.
So let's put our hands together and welcome Dave.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Dave.
Good. It's going to be a difficult audience tonight, eh? Well, I'm from London, so I speak London, so if you don't understand me, you'll have to put your hand up and I'll speak slower for you. But thank you for listening. I've got 20 minutes, so the clock is running now. Please tell me when I'm over time. That'll be great. I've never spoken for 20 minutes before, so this will be a world record. So I am 50 years of age this year. Isn't that exciting? Thank you. And I had my first business when I was 21. So it's been a world of trying all sorts of different things. I've started charities in the UK, and that sounds easier than it really is. Run engineering companies and coaching companies, and for the last 9 years I've been running a company called Energy Drive here in South Africa. And to date, we've saved 520 gigawatt hours. Every hour we save, that's the equivalent of taking 26,000 homes off the grid. It's the amount of energy we save. That's 520 megatons of carbon a year we've reduced in the South African environment. So that's what we've done. And it's been a fantastic journey from starting from zero with an idea. Basically arriving to South Africa and realizing that there's an opportunity to save power, but that most businesses couldn't afford the equipment. So we came up with like an Uber version, pay-as-you-use kind of thing, which has never been seen before, where we purchase the equipment for these companies, we put it in and we rent it to them, and we take a portion of the savings they achieve. And as a result, our company's grown from 0 to 1.2 billion rand in 9 years. Which has been an incredible journey. We have 63 employees here and 20 employees in the UK and 15 employees throughout the European nations. And so we've been able to grow a global company from an idea 9 years ago to today, which is an exciting story and one that all of you can achieve. So who here is an entrepreneur? Fantastic. So I've got 19 minutes to explain why I am really excited to be here. Right from an early age, I had a real desire to make a difference. Anyone here feel that way? I wanted my life to count. I wanted it to be more than just money in a bank or a Ferrari or a Porsche, although those things are very nice. I wanted to feel like somehow this world is a better place because of my being here. And one of the ways, so I started off with a very religious family, and we started off in church planting and churches and all of that thing, but quickly realized that if we really wanted to change the world, we needed to teach people how to make money and then use that money to do good. And so one of the passions of our life, and my life, has been to help people find their passion and turn that into a business that employs people and socially uplift people from where they are to where they should be. And so our desire, certainly my desire, has been to work with people over the last 10 years. And there's 26 people over the last 18 months that I've been working with, that each one of those people have hired 10 people and been able to socially uplift. That's 100 people that have been able to be socially uplifted in the last 18 months. From a place of poverty to a place where they can have dignity, have their own place, and take their kids and pay for them to go to school. And that's making a difference. And so entrepreneurial work for me is far more than just helping you become a better entrepreneur. It's helping you become someone that can change his planet. And that's when I met Debbie and heard about you guys that get together once every whenever and talk about how you can change the world. So I thought what I'd do is very quickly give you some headlines of things that I have enjoyed, that have changed my life, things that have helped me stay focused. And this is this quote here: if the why is big enough, then the how is usually not a problem. A lot of entrepreneurs start a business because of a great idea, but they don't start it because of a deep-rooted why. a deep sense of yes. You've probably heard this thing of, if you have a burning yes within you, then saying no is easy. How many, though, of you have found it hard to say no to lots of distractions and ideas and shiny baubles? People come along and attract you to come and do this or work in this company or do this, and you struggle to say no to those things. Usually it's because there's not a burning yes within. And so one of the things that I would certainly challenge us tonight is make the why as big a why as you possibly can. Does it reverb? Does it burn within you? Is your starting your business bigger than the actual product or new widget that you're coming up with? Is it bigger than that? If it's not bigger than that, I suggest you stop and make the why bigger. I love this thing. Many people think that they lack motivation, but actually they lack clarity. Just think about that. People think they lack motivation, but what they actually lack is clarity. Clarity to know, why am I getting up every morning? Why am I putting myself through this? Why am I broke for another year? Why am I not turning any profits? What is this all about when all my friends have gone and got a regular job and earning a regular salary and their life just seems to be absolutely normal? Anyone been in that place? I want to tell you, when you start a business this big, you spend many, many years wondering if you've really made the right decision. Anyone been there? Clarity is the motivation. And clarity is not sought by looking at a spreadsheet. Clarity is sought by looking at your heart. Because that is where motivation comes from. So, risk. How many of you like risk? Risk. You can't shrink your way to greatness. Anyone know that? You can't shrink your way to greatness. The only way that you're going to take a business and you're going to make it to the size where it can really make a difference is by taking risk. So, I love this quote. Anyone heard of Brené Brown? Anyone read her books?
Yes.
Two of you. She has this fantastic quote. It says this: you can have comfort or you can have courage, but you can't have both. You can have comfort or you can have courage, but you can't have both. Who's had courage? And who's had comfort? Which is better? And certainly I talk to entrepreneurs who get to what I call the middle comfy stage of business, where the bills are being paid and suddenly life is quite nice. That's the time to shake it up, blow it up, leave, do something disastrous, because let me tell you, courage trumps comfort every time. What about this one then? This one is, I love this one. Intolerance of the present creates a future. Become intolerant of the poverty that we see. Become intolerant of the things that we live day to day with. Become intolerant of the things that most people take for granted. What makes an entrepreneur? Because they're intolerant of being just a number on a payslip. They want to own or put their stamp of something unique of yourself down for the world to see. There's something burning within you that says, I need to make a difference. That is the energy that takes you from 0 to R1 billion in 9 years. And you, in this room, can do that. But it comes from the heart and not from the head. Innovation. Innovation is the engine room of entrepreneurism. But innovation doesn't mean invention. You don't have to be an inventor to be innovative. I was talking to someone today who banged their car and thought of an idea of how they could be innovative by taking technology that already is there and just put it together. That's innovation. Innovation is taking things that are already in place. Uber is a great example. You take a car and someone who needs a lift and a cell phone, and you put it together and you get Uber. But a lot of people think that innovation means that we need to be the next mad scientist and come up with something that's never been seen on the earth before. If you ask yourself this question, how many times this month have I thought of something innovative? Train yourself to find something new and innovative every single month. You're surrounded by them. You walk past it. Train yourself to look at things differently and say, is there a better way of doing that? And you'll be amazed the amount of ideas that can come to you. Think about this one then. This motivates me often. Change is not so much about being the first one to embrace a new idea, but being the first to forget an old one. Change is not about embracing a new idea, but forgetting the old one. in this room, one of the things that will hold us back from greatness is the stories that we've learned to believe in. We need to unlearn a lot more than we're currently learning. And unlearning actually is harder than learning. What have you unlearned this month? So in this business, I've met many, many times. Within the first 2 years, we had to find 120 million rand. And banks wouldn't touch us. So we had to find money from mums and toddlers, not toddlers, mums and dads and aunties and uncles and friends and hostages. I mean, people. Because people will give you the money if they believe that what you have is sincerity. Because people buy into people and not into product. And if you lead from your heart and you lead from a place of sincerity, money will follow you. It's a law. Trust me, it works. And so our company usually needs to get through between 140 and 200 million rand every year just to put equipment on a wall. And people still openly invest because they believe in the people behind the product. Do they believe in you? Are you believable? Have you made the why big enough in the way that you think? I've only got 20 minutes, so you're getting the short version. Don't fall in love with the vehicle and forsake the message. Some of us start off with a really, really good idea. And then you start the idea, and now you can go and buy your Apple Mac computer and your projector and your nice iWatch and your nice car. And you fall in love with all the trappings of the business, and you lose the passion of the message. And you'll find that as your business grows and you become more and more profitable, it's easy to fall in love with the office and the environment and the buzz and the people and the new life is generated. And the passion for the very message that got you those things is lost in the distance. Hang on to the message that got you there in the first place. Make that be the thing that burns you and not the trappings around you. Otherwise, you'll be what I call the man in the golden cage, who built a business and now is caged by the very things he didn't want in the first place. Unpack that for you another day. Love this thing. A lady called Diana Arbus, last time I was here I spoke about this. She was a woman who was a perfectionist. How am I doing for time? A woman who was perfectionist at taking photos. She'd make sure she'd take the perfect shot. Until one day she left her camera on the floor and her 3-year-old picked up the camera and took all of these pictures randomly. So she's in the dark room and she's doing her pictures and suddenly all these weird and wonderful shots come out. So she says she's going to do this experiment and she puts up in her gallery the pictures her 3-year-old took and the pictures that she took. Which ones outsold? She coined this phrase, I had to learn not to be careful. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to learn to not be careful. Because if you're careful, you'll end up doing it just like everyone else is doing it, and you'll produce the same results that everyone else does. But you don't want that because you became an entrepreneur to change the world, and that means something different. And so I coined this phrase, it's all about ready, fire, aim. Because often we don't quite know what it is we're aiming at. We just know that something needs to change. And so we move in a direction. Being an entrepreneur says, I feel it's that way. I'm not quite sure what it's going to end up like, but I'm going that way. Anyone been there? And yet everyone else thinks you're mad because you can't articulate quite what the end looks like. But you suddenly feel that you need to be going in this direction because you are ready, fire, aim. And one day you get to the target and you go, that is what I had in mind all along.
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Yeah. I'm going to slow down.
Yeah.
And so we come to one of the biggest problems with being an entrepreneur is that we love what we do, but we're not supposed to do it all the time. If you stay in a business and you grow it, often if you're the person that started the business, I'd probably say you should be out of the business within 5 years. Because usually if you stay in a business beyond the 5 years, you're in it for the long haul. And your productivity, your innovation, your desires, your creativity, the passion for those things after 5 years starts to take a nosedive. Or the standard entrepreneur is what we call a 1,000-day man. Everyone heard that? The 1,000-day man is typically a 3-year man or woman, may I say, is usually a 3-year period. Number one, They get the idea and they generate massive amounts of energy. Year 2, they put the foundations down, they build the platform, they get everyone downloading their app. And year 3, they need to exit. But most people don't exit in year 3. You know what they do? They blow the damn thing up so they can start all over again in year 4. And so their life becomes a cycle of invention, foundation laying, and blowing it up. Anyone know what I mean? Most entrepreneurs blow 3 businesses out of 5 up because they don't realize the exit stage. Start with the end in mind and have your exit strategy before you begin. The greatest threat to moving on is you. The greatest threat to scaling your business is you. Unpack what it is that you do. What is unique about you? Write it down. And from day 1, start to train someone else to do what you do. Because in 5 years' time, you're going to have another new idea, another new inspiration, and you want to leave a business that's successful and can outgrow you. It's like parenting. You want your kids to do better than you did, right? You don't want to, when they get to 18, say, no, now you need to stay at home for another 18 years. No, you want to allow them to go and leave home and do far better than you did because you're willing to let them go. Most entrepreneurs haven't planned their exit on day 1. And so they hang on, and they hang on, and they hang on. How do we do that? We model our business. We assist our new CEO. So 5 months ago, I hired a CEO to run my company. So now I'm an employee. How cool is that? So I have a CEO that runs the business so that I can now work on an exit plan in order to start new businesses. There will come a time where you need to model something, then you need to assist someone to do what you need to do, then you need to watch over what they do, and then what have you got to do? How many of you are excited about the day when you can leave the business you're about to start? How many of you are excited about the day when you're going to leave the business you're about going to start? If you get there, then you're ready to start. Because you realize that this business isn't your identity and it's not going to define you, but it is going to be part of the journey to your greatness. Because if you stop at the business that you have right in front of you, it will define you and it will stop the greatness that is inside of you. I love this quote. When what we believe, when what we see, and when what we do are in alignment, we have the propensity for significance. When what we believe, when what we see, and when what we do is in alignment, we have the propensity for significance. So let me ask you today, what do you believe about you? What is your internal story telling you? Is it telling you that this is a good idea, it might work? Or is it telling you this is a bloody good idea and it will work? What do you believe about the world that you live in? What do you believe about the stories that people have told you about the world you believe in? What is your purpose for starting your business? What do you see? When you look at your business, are you seeing the spreadsheet currently, or are you seeing the big building? Someone showed me a picture just now of a big building, a campus, and people coming in and being trained in IT. And the only thing I could say to him was, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. When what we do, our behavior, your attitude, I always say this when I talk to entrepreneurs, you train for attitude, you hire for attitude and train for skill. Hire for attitude and train for skill. If you do it the other way around, you'll have hours of pain. Believe me. Our behavior, our attitude, our habits, our approaches to the way we tackle life, the way that we deal with problems, our purpose, our vision, our behavior, when they are in alignment, we have the propensity for significance. I want to go back to this very first slide that we started with. A lot of people spend a lot of detail on the product or the idea. But the people that I coach, to be honest with you, the product, the idea is a very, very secondary thing. I want to know about the heart and the motivation. Why are you doing what you're doing? For me, I want the next 18 months to see another 100 people lifted out of poverty and into a place of pride and success. I want to see another 25 businesses prosper beyond the $1 million a month turnover place. I want to see people be able to follow their dreams and be impacted and impact the lives of young people behind them. I want to see these goals that the global guys are putting out here seen and actually happen in the place where I live and I work. But it isn't going to be happening unless I have a bigger why for my business. My business is not to make my shareholders rich. My business is to make everyone around me rich. I love this thing. If your business ceased to exist today, who would notice? If your business ceased to exist today, who would notice? Thank you for listening.